So one of the things that you talk about in your upcoming book that I want to really focus on, because again, we're going to talk about leadership today. And it's going to be the primary focus of our discussion. But I wanted to talk about, you go into and explore, and I haven't read the book yet. I will really acknowledge that. I'm going to. But you talk about trust and healthy relationships, right? But my question is, in kind of rallying around those things, I think it's really, really important as a leader, right? And that seems like what you're demonstrating.
Yes.
How do you navigate that without losing a degree of professionalism? And what I mean by that, let me provide some context. What I mean by that is some people will put their hair down or let their hair down, and they try to like communicate and build trust and relationship with their peers, their coworkers, or their subordinates, what have you, whatever you want to call it. And what they end up doing effectively is kind of people can't handle not having the dynamic of boss-employee relationship. Yeah. So how do you manage it? What boundaries do you establish for yourself whereby people still have that respect for you as the leader, right? But we are all still building those relationships and moving towards a collective effort.
Look, it's a great question, and I think there's actually a couple layers to it. So first, it depends on what we're doing, how many people we're doing it with. Again, running a business where it's just you and maybe a couple other people is different than running a business where there's 20 people or 50 people or 100 people or 1,000 or 10, you know what I mean? So the context changes and the role that we play changes. That said, the analogy or the example that I like to use to understand the difference, because I talk a lot about authenticity.
Right.
But to think of it from a leadership context, if you're the leader, like you're in a leadership position, you have people who report to you, however big or small your company is. Think of it like you think of yourself like a captain or a pilot of an airline. Now, again, most of us aren't flying these days, but when you're on a plane and you go through some turbulence. And I was flying a lot prior to all of this, traveling around the country and around the world speaking. I'm not a huge fan of turbulence. I don't think anybody is. But when we go through turbulence, what's helpful is if the pilot comes on before you hit the bumps, if possible, and says, hey, we're going to hit some bumps, right? Because they're coming and we just want to let you know, we'll do the best we can so you're prepared. Every now and again, the bumps come out of the blue and they might come on, so sorry, we didn't see those coming, but there's communication. So letting us, here's what's happening, here's what's going on, here's what we're doing, here's what we're going to try to do, here's how long I think it's going to last, we're going to try to get through it. So a good, strong, authentic leader communicates proactively, authentically, transparently about what's happening, what's going on. Now, if you, using this analogy, if you're the pilot, you're the captain, then you shut off the microphone, and let's just say it's really, really bad, like it's stormy and it caught you off guard and things are, then you say to the people in the cockpit, oh my gosh, this is a little scary. We're going to have to hunker down and really figure this out. That's a conversation you have in the cockpit with the other people who are flying the plane. You don't have that conversation with everyone. Because if I hear the pilot go, I've never seen it like this before, we might crash, like that's going to freak me out and I can't do anything back. You see what I mean? So I say that because what you need as a leader is you need to have people, whether it's your leadership team, or maybe it's your spouse or your mentor or your coach, or people in that inner circle that you really can lower the waterline on the iceberg and tell the truth. I'm freaked out. I'm stressed out. I don't like this. I don't know what's going on. With your team, there may be moments that it's appropriate to share some of that, but it's not for me as much about professionalism or not professionalism. It's about trust, and it's about sharing as much as you possibly can without oversharing. I think of this also as a parent. It's like our girls are 14 and 12. We try to be as transparent and authentic with them as possible.
Right.
But we don't share stuff that's inappropriate for them to know about our marriage or about our finances or whatever, because they're 12 and 14. They don't need to know that. They're like, oh, dad's freaked out about paying the mortgage if that, when that was the case many years ago. Like, I'm not going to tell my 3-year-old daughter that, because what the heck's she going to do with that information? Yeah. You know what I mean? So we have to be mindful of the moment that we're in, the team that we have, and what's going on. But the trap that I see, Chris, that leaders fall into is this sense of thinking like, I'm supposed to be tough, I'm supposed to be strong, I'm supposed to have it all together, which then just creates an enormous amount of pressure that isn't healthy.
All right, did you like that clip? Remember, that's not the full interview. And you can watch the rest of that discussion right above my head. You can click right on the screen. Go ahead and start that now, but before you go, don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more videos just like this. See you inside.